Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is DomeFest West's Fulldome Forum. I'm Ed Lance. I'm board chair of DomeFest West. DomeFest is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that's here to promote the format and Fulldome producers and also the larger immersive entertainment and education space. We have a really awesome forum today. This is a topic that has received a lot of attention of late on LED domes. And if you've been in an LED dome, you know how awesome the imagery is. Higher resolution, higher brightness, higher contrast, really exceeding cinematic quality. So this is really an awesome topic, and boy, do we have a panel of industry leaders here who can answer all your questions. This will be moderated today by Ryan Moore, who's our executive director. So just want to let you know and remind you about DomeFest West's annual film festival in Boulder, Colorado, this April 23rd through 26th. And hey, Ryan, why don't you come on, introducing Ryan Moore, our executive director, and why don't you tell us a little about the upcoming Film Fest as people are coming on the call.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Ed. And hello, everyone out there. Welcome to an amazing Fulldome Forum that we have set up for you today. An incredible discussion. And yes, Ed is completely 100% right. You are invited to the DomeFest West Film Festival. It is our annual flagship event each year, this year taking place in April at the Prague Planetarium in Boulder, Colorado. We have 38 incredible films that you'll be finding out about next week. So we are actually going to be announcing the lineup next week, next Tuesday. Look on social media, subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get the lineup. We have incredible content. There's going to be incredible networking sessions, chances for you to suggest roundtable topics that you can then discuss with other subject matter experts. And then capping that all off, films, amazing planetarium films, Fulldome films, some really great Dome After Dark content, some really great laser content. So anyways, our festival, I could talk about it for hours, but I'll save you all from that. I do want to let you know that you still do have a chance actually to save if you want to Fest West. We invite you. We've got early bird tickets that are available up until the point that we release our lineup. So that is taking place February 17th. So February 16th, get your early bird ticket, save a little bit of money. Otherwise, wait till you see what you're going to be seeing. And then we look forward to you also joining us then. But let's go ahead and kick off this conversation. We're super excited. This is an all-star panel of integrations and design side, all the way through to what it's like to actually operate and what it feels like when your venue goes through an LED transformation. There's so many cool perspectives we'll be hearing. But first, I want to introduce Benjamin. Benjamin, do you mind turning your camera on and unmuting? Would love to introduce you. You are the managing director of RSA Cosmos, so you are coming to us from France. Hello. How is the weather there in France? How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing very fine, and weather in France is quite cold nowadays, but maybe less cold than in some other place in the world, so I cannot complain too much.
That's the secret of happiness, not comparing. So well done. You've had 20 years of working in the planetarium industry, so we're super excited to have you be a part of this conversation. Why don't you, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself a little bit, some of the work you've done, and then, some of your thoughts on planetariums considering moving to LED systems. What should they be thinking about? So take it away, Benjamin.
Okay, so let me share my screen first. I hope it's working.
Looking good, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So hello everyone. As you say, I'm Benjamin Cabut. I'm the managing director of RSA Cosmos. Quick word about me: I studied physics measurements long time ago, and when I was a student, I had a strong passion for computers and programming. So as soon as I started my career, I started as a software developer, and then I had the chance to start at RSA Cosmos, developing the first version of Sky Explorer, the astronomical simulator that we use in our solution in planetariums. And then actually since 2009, I'm the CEO of RSA Cosmos. And then on a personal point of view, I have a second passion, obviously, for my two children, aside to my passion for the planetarium. And I'm also a scuba diving instructor, which is my other passion in my life. So quick word about the company. RSA Cosmos is actually part of Konica Minolta group. As you may know, this big group has several industries. And then since long time ago, they are also specialized in planetariums. So Konica Minolta is doing optical planetariums. They are also operating planetariums, and they are selling solutions in Japan. And since we joined the group a few years ago, we joined because we are a specialist in digital planetariums, specialist in LED domes, and then we are also selling all those solutions in the rest of the world, except then Japan. So the group installed our first LED domes in 2021 and in 2022. Those were our two first LED domes installed in Japan, 15-meter domes. But actually, since then, we are moved and made more installations. So a few weeks ago, we finished the installation of this 20-meter dome in China, in Suzhou, very close to Shanghai. It's a completely new astronomical science museum. So a few pictures of this installation there. You can see our team here installing the dome. We also have another installation in progress now in India. This is an installation for the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. So we sold them a 15-meter 8K LED dome. So actually, a few months ago, we set up this dome in China before shipment, for trial before shipment. So those are the pictures that you see here. And then now on site, actually, we are installing the main frame and the subframe of the system. So this is really the latest pictures I have from the site in India, where we are now installing this LED dome. We are also going to install Singapore New Science Center LED dome. So it's a 20-meter 8K dome, also a completely new facility. And then we are currently in the design phase. So you can see a little bit of the work that our team is doing here for designing the LED dome here, but not only the LED dome, the full planetariums actually. And there is something interesting in this installation. I will just share quickly this video. Just to show you something very special that there will be in this planetarium. There will be a very specific systems of seats where you will see that all the seats of the planetarium are motorized. And then thanks to that, this LED dome will have a lot of way to be used. So as a standard planetarium, but not only. You see the seats are going down, they will go up, and the seats can be removed. So actually the planetarium can decide to have seats, no seats, to have a slope or no slope, flat ground. So it's really make this facility something unique. So the installation is for next year, and then the production will start very soon because the study phase is nearly finished. And then also we will install the Amsterdam Artis new planetarium. There is an existing planetarium there, but it will be destroyed, and the new facility will comes out. And we will install a 20-meter 10K LED dome there. So what I want to share today is that with LED dome, actually quality is something very important because there are plenty of suppliers that claim that they can make LED domes. Mainly all those technology are coming from China right now, and many companies are very interested in that market. But actually, very few companies are really serious about what we are doing in domes and in planetariums. So you can see here two pictures of LED domes, and you can see on the left that there is a lot of cross reflection where you can really notice all the LED panels, while on the right, there is some specific treatment on the LED panels and the black is absolutely perfect, and you cannot notice the LED panels. So this is one of the things that are very important for the quality. Another things about the quality of the LED domes, you can see here two pictures. Those are real pictures showing the zenith of some LED domes. And then on one side, you can see that it's totally white, completely uniform, whilst on the other side, you can notice that the white is having some different colors. Depending where you look on the dome, it can look a little bit more blue or a little bit more pink. So this is that kind of effect that we have with LEDs. And then you need also some specific technology to take care to avoid that kind of effect. And then obviously for video content, it's not as important as for astronomy content, because when we are displaying stars and displaying Milky Way, deep sky object, we really want to have a nice graduation over the low luminosity of the LEDs. And also this is something very special. So it's something that not all LED suppliers can manage. And then I guess us as RSA Cosmos, as well as our competitor dedicated in planetariums industry, we all care about this level of quality. So yeah, basically what I want to share is that if you plan to make a LED dome, really you need to discuss with expert that has real experience and that has already installed LED dome for planetarium use, to be sure that you will have the proper quality in your facility. If we look at the cost, if we compare a high resolution digital or a hybrid planetarium compared to a LED dome, obviously the investment in an LED dome is 2 or 2.5 times more. But actually, when we say this, we are not really comparing two things comparable, because the brightness is totally different in the LED dome. The brightness is something like 10 times higher than for a standard projection system. So it means that if we would compare apple to apple, we should take in consideration the price of projector with the similar brightness as LED dome. And then obviously, in this case, the price for the digital system would be higher than the price of LED dome or similar. So considering that aspect of brightness, this price difference is actually not that much. But also there is something more that you can take into account, is that the lifetime of a projector is something like 7 to 10 years. Already when you have a video projector that run for 10 years, you can be very happy. While with the LED dome, you are sure that the technology will last at least 25, 30 years. So you need to consider that in the same operation time, you would have to replace 2 or 3 times your projection system. And obviously, when you look at the cost of investment, you should look at this over this long period, where you will also have to pay for replacing your projectors. And not only the projectors, but the screen, the aluminum screen by itself, probably would need some cleaning, repainting, or repaneling at some point, depending the technology of the screen that you are using. So those are the kind of costs that you should add in the balance to compare the cost of investment of a LED dome compared to a standard planetarium. So the value of investment is looking higher, but actually the quality of the system is much higher. The contrast of LED dome is unequaled. The brightness also is unequaled. Color are absolutely great. The uniformity, you don't have to take care of the geometry or the calibration of between projectors and the soft edge area, so it's much better, and it's really stable over time. And then also there is no shadow. If someone stands in front of the projector, it makes a shadow on the screen, while with the LED dome it's not the case. So there are a lot of advantage on the LED dome technology. And then obviously, if you compare, you should include all the costs to compare the investment between the LED dome technology and the standard projection system. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And then I will give the mic to Ryan to introduce the next speaker. Thank you very much.
Benjamin, thank you so much, Matt. That is such a fun looking seating arrangement that you're setting up there in India, and there was a bunch of comments about it. That sounds like that's going to be quite an interesting project. So if any of y'all have questions for that, save it for the open floor lounge that takes place right after this call. It's a different call, so you can have your cameras on. You can actually interact with Benjamin, ask him questions if you want to. So that will be taking place right after this, hosted and moderated by Kelly Francis. So next, let's continue on with some big players in the LED space. Kirk Johnson, please, let's get you on. Essentially, Kirk has been working with Evans and Sutherland for years and years and years. 35 years. You've essentially seen it all when it comes to installing different domes and understanding the projection versus the surface. And now suddenly your projection is the surface, and it's a whole new ball game and so many new things for different planetariums to consider, as well as your new sports venues, which we won't get too deep into what you're doing with content. But Kirk, we'd love to hear from you if you don't mind just kind of giving us all a quick background and sharing some of the cool stuff you've been up to.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that. Yes, as you mentioned, I've been with Cosm, or ENS, now Cosm, for almost 36 years now. And so I've seen a lot of things over that time frame. Most of that time, 33 plus years, have been working in domes. And so a lot has come and gone. I think, I'd like to just a little bit focus on the company a little bit and our history and where we've come from and where things are going. If you go back in time with Evans and Sutherland, we kind of invented computer graphics here in Salt Lake City with David Evans and Ivan Sutherland at the University of Utah. They're known as the pioneers in computer graphics back in 1968. We became the world's leader in flight simulation, real-time imagery for flight simulators. That developed, and we took that technology and created the first digital planetarium called Digistar that many of you are familiar with in the early 1980s. Ever since that time, we have been focused on trying to make the image quality better for you, our customers, and also for your clients and audiences that come to your facilities. We've gone from a calligraphic Digistar projector to CRTs to LCDs to DLPs to laser projectors. We always knew that really to get the quality that we wanted and needed in this immersive dome environment and planetariums, we needed to get to an emissive technology, because anytime you're reflecting light off the dome to see and back to your eyes to see, you're also creating cross bounce and washing colors out and washing that black level out. And so we knew we needed to get to emissive technology. And so 20 years ago, we started looking at this technology, understanding that, 20 years ago, LED technology was not mature enough. It was way too expensive. But we announced the first LED dome product in 2017 at the GDP conference in Germany. And so it's amazing to think that we've been earnestly working on developing this LED technology now for over 10 years. We announced also at Giant Screen Cinema a few years later. But I think importantly, we installed our first LED dome here in our facility in Salt Lake City. Those of you who have been here, we've had many of you and hosted you here. But it's a 20-meter, 8K, 150-foot Lambert dome that we installed here in Salt Lake City. And we installed that for a couple of different reasons. One is it's great for our engineering team to have that access on a daily basis, to test it, figure out how to calibrate, how to process the pixels. We learned how to build the structures properly. And we also build it so that you, our customers, could come and see it for yourselves and see that it's real. We need to make sure that as you make these purchasing decisions that you come and see it for yourself and you see one that works and one that's in operation. And so we have a great experience center here, and we welcome those that haven't been here to come and visit us or to go visit our facilities around the country and the world, in Prague and in Fort Worth and in Arizona, and there'll be more to come. We also have a smaller LED dome that we build in our headquarters in LA. It's about a 10.5 meter dome. Again, gives us that ability to test our content, to run that through the paces, to on a daily basis, see what we can break, see how we fix it, and see how we make it better. Our first customer-facing LED dome was opened at our Cosm venue in Los Angeles in July of 2024. And as Ryan mentioned, these Cosm venues are really sports and entertainment focused, and that's what we do in those venues. Our first science and education product was at the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History, and it's great to see Nikki and Jeremiah on the call today. We replaced their IMAX screen and IMAX display with a 23-meter 8K display down there, and it's a beautiful display. We hosted the event for the Giant Screen Cinema Dome Day there earlier this year, and many of you were in attendance there and saw that amazing and beautiful display. Our first LED dome in Europe is at the Prague Planetarium. And Martin is on the call today, and we're excited to have him with us. And it's a beautiful 22-meter dome. They've really pushed the audience up into the display, so it's super immersive. It also extends down to the floor in the front. Just late last year, we opened an 18-meter 8K dome at the Dorrance Dome at the Arizona Science Center. I love that display, and we took their 12-degree tilted 18-meter dome. They'd been here to our experience center in Salt Lake and saw that flexible space in the front where you can host events and weddings and other corporate events. And so we helped them redesign the facility to really accommodate that. And it's really a special design, a special theater. It gives you that flexibility of both a typical planetarium or dome theater, and also the flexibility to have those other events that can help generate that revenue. We'll be installing 4 or 5 more LED CX systems this year at the University of Nevada, Reno. We also have 2 or 3 projects that we're installing right now, but have not yet announced, and we'll be announcing those shortly. We're also opening 2 new Cosm venues in Atlanta and Detroit. All of these Cosm venues to date are 26.6 meter 12K domes. So if you're interested in sports and entertainment side, they're really fun, have a lot of energy in those facilities, and we're excited to share that with the team. And then we've announced our Cosm venue in Cleveland that will open in 2027. We'll announce 3 or 4 more Cosm venues later this year. And then, of course, our most recent announcement are the first LED dome in South America, in Asunción, Paraguay, with Musi, and we're excited that will open. Again, that's a 20-meter 8K display in Asunción, and it's scheduled to open in late 2027, early 2028 as they build that new facility. So again, just quickly review, we've talked about these facilities that are open and operating, and we're installing actively at this time. And then our Cosm venues as well, Los Angeles, Dallas, Atlanta, Detroit, and Cleveland, with 4 or 5 more to be announced in the coming months. I think it's important for everyone to really understand a little bit about Cosm and who we are. Most of you, I think, are aware of Evans and Sutherland and Spitz, who have been in this industry for, over 75 years at Spitz. But to understand the Cosm ecosystem, I think it's important how we address our Cosm venue market and how we address the science and education and giant screen cinema and our customer-facing markets. We kind of have a 3-legged stool, or a Cosm cog here that represents us. We have our Cosm venues, and I put our CX system customers, our planetarium giant screen customers in with there. They're the operators of venues, okay? And as we mentioned, our Cosm venues are sports and entertainment oriented. We have our Cosm media. These domes are great, amazing displays, but without the content, it's really the content that makes it. It's like real estate, location, location, location. And with these amazing displays and amazing theaters and venues, it's about content, content, content. Now that we have solved, I believe we've solved the quality and that we need in these LED immersive displays. Now it's really about helping facilitate the content, and Cosm has invested tens of millions of dollars in experimenting with different types of content. And our Cosm Media Group is the one that develops that content and does the licenses with those production companies in order to make that happen. And then there's the Cosm Tech organization, which is the organization that I sit in, and we provide the technology to both our Cosm venues and also to you, our B2B or enterprise customers. It's that same technology that we provide to our Cosm venues that we provide to you, that same software. And I think there's a lot of synergies there because, there's things that the way we've approached the design of our CX LED system, was from a scientific standpoint, from a planetarium and giant screen cinema. There's a certain quality that both the planetarium and the giant screen require of the system that maybe a sports and entertainment venue wouldn't require. But because of our approach in designing that, it's really benefited our Cosm venues. Similarly, there's some things in Cosm venues that probably couldn't be justified from a return or an investment standpoint that we developed for our Cosm venues that also trickles down and benefits our B2B and our planetarium and giant screen cinema customers. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, as we get into the questions. Content is one of those areas that we've heavily invested in that will benefit both sides of the business. But I think it's important to understand how this works and this system works in order to benefit both our venues, but also is focused on serving and helping you, our B2B planetarium science and education customers. Another feature I think that is important to understand about Cosm is our vertical integration as we approach these CX system LED domes. We've we have the solution top to bottom. Our company Spitz in Chadford, Pennsylvania, has been designing, manufacturing, and installing domes for over 75 years. And so we can customize these domes to meet your specific needs, right? We design, manufacture, install those ourselves. Here in Salt Lake City at Evans Sutherland, we've been processing pixels for 50 plus years now. And so we have the most experience in the industry to process pixels and understand what that takes to give you the best possible image quality and solution and system usability possible in the industry. And then add that to now our Cosm media. Everyone knows, I think, also that Spitz and ENS have been contributors and producers in the full dome industry for a long time with content. We've now expanded that into our Cosm media. It's much broader, much deeper now. And so we have, again, the solution top to bottom. We can serve your needs. We can make adjustments as necessary because we have that capability. We can talk about the resolution, brightness, system contrast. Those are super important. I think we're going to get into that in some of the Q&A, so I won't go over that today, but we've touched on that. Benjamin touched on that a little bit, but we can touch on that a little bit more as we get through the Q&A session. The last thing I'd just like to touch bases on about Cosm before we conclude this introductory portion of the presentation is what I believe is an owner-operator advantage. There's been some chatter, I think, in the industry from some of our competitors that because we are owning and operating these sports and entertainment venues, somehow the science and education business and the giant screen cinema business that we've been involved in for 40 plus years is not important to us anymore. Just the contrary. We have more people involved today in this side of the business than we've ever had before. I think the fact that we own and operate our own venues is super important and advantageous to us and helps us serve this community better. We know what it takes to market a facility. We know what it takes to program. We know what it takes to sell tickets. We know what it takes to deal with the general public. We know how important reliability is and uptime is. We know the pain and the challenge that you face on a daily basis. And I think it enables us to better serve this marketplace. And so just be assured that this market it continues to be super important to us. It continues to be a focus of ours. And I think the fact that we have our Cosm venues actually helps us understand the challenges that you face and helps us better serve you. So with that, I'll kick it back to Ryan and thank you for your time.
Awesome, Kirk. Thank you so much. And those sports venues, like, there is something special that happens when you feel like you are behind, like the net in soccer or something, and the fidelity you guys are getting. Kudos to you on that. We'll definitely come back more to that, but thank you so much, Kirk.
Thanks, Ryan.
Awesome. Well, we are keep going. We've got a bit of a shift from the technology itself to now putting some spotlight onto what it's like to have one of these facilities or tools inside your museum. And this is where we actually turn to Fort Worth, who has one of these amazing systems, and that's helping. I'm going to introduce Nikki. Nikki, if you want to just come on real quick on the screen. You are the Vice President of Collections, Interpretation, and Programs at the entire Museum of Fort Worth of Science and History. So you're overlooking a lot of different things. The LED dome is just one of them, but there's really exciting things that you can do with that. So maybe just introduce yourself a little bit, and then some of your experience on this. We'd love to hear from you.
Right, absolutely. So I am the Vice President of Collections, Interpretation, and Programs at the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. It's a very long title, wear many hats, as I'm sure most of us on this call do. In addition to the Omni, which is our LED dome theater, I also oversee the planetarium, which is still projector-based. So let me just share my screen quickly. All right, Ryan, does that look good? You can see everything?
Yeah, looking great. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So we are privileged to have several domes under the umbrella of the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. Again, our planetarium, which is the Noble Planetarium. And so I have a few of the specs just so everybody can kind of get a sense of what we're working with here. Again, it is still projector-based. It's about 80 seats. And admission is included, entry into the planetarium is included in your regular museum ticket. So we do find that although we have our big new beautiful Omni Theater, this also serves a great purpose for our field trip kids and for some of our littlest visitors. And then we do also have a mobile noble. So we have a mobile planetarium that we take out on the road. So that's two of the three. But then I think what everybody really wants to talk about here is our Omni Theater. So we were a former IMAX theater, originally opened in 1983. We were the largest in the Southwest at that time. We did close down in 2020 due to a variety of things, COVID, and then also just the technology was outdated. It was time to do something new and refresh the space. And so that's, when we started talking to Cosm, and Cosm came in and they, we renovated the existing space. So our new theater is actually inside of the existing building, which is pretty cool. And not to be outdone by ourselves, I guess, we were the largest in the Southwest, and now we are the world's first LED digital dome of our size at a museum anywhere in the world. So that's pretty cool. It's an extraordinary space. It is the 8K resolution, incredibly bright, and about 265 seats is what we sell to. And that is a separate ticket, et cetera. But really kind of what I wanted to focus on is the versatility that we get with the Omni Theater and with the Cosm technology and all the different kinds of programming that we can do. So in our smaller dome planetarium, we're really only able to run sort of traditional planetarium shows. But that isn't the case in the Omni. So we're a little bit unique, I guess, in that during the day we run mainly educational documentaries. But we are able to do so many different kinds of things. We can run live planetarium shows with real-time navigation through space using a Xbox controller, which is very cool. We do a live from the Omni concert series, and so we can do bespoke visuals, and that includes space, like you see here in the top video, just so everybody gets a sense. The photos don't really do the space justice, and so I added some videos, but they don't really do it justice either. It's a truly beautiful space. So we can do the space content using Digistar, but then we can also have other things. This is a film called Resolution, that is the music of the polyphonic spree, and so that was made by an outside company, but it was made for the full 8K, and it's a really beautiful, really vibrant film. And so we premiered it at the Omni, and the band came in and played, and so it was a really special event. But again, we can do all sorts of different things. We can show Hollywood films in kind of that traditional 16:9 format. We do special holiday events. We do sound baths. We've hosted trivia. We've done karaoke, movie clubs, private screenings. We do have a direct TV connection, so we're able to pull up sporting events or things like that on the screen. And then we can also do, presentations. We can Zoom people in. We can do slideshows. We can pull up YouTube. It's truly very, very versatile and gives us a lot of breadth of things that we're able to do. And this bottom video is actually from one of our first forays into special events. So if it seems a little rudimentary, Cosm, that's on us. That's not on you. It was one of our first ones. But we did a Galentine's Day event. Well, I guess I can't make it big enough. But we did a Galentine's Day event that was Taylor Swift themed. And so we only had the small videos, music videos, but we were able to, build these templates and add individual graphics to each of the different videos. So it really is a very, very versatile system, and we've enjoyed getting to kind of dig into it and learn how to use it. In addition to all of these things that I've mentioned, we also have access to Unreal Engine, and then different kinds of software like Resolume and Nestdrop, which Jeremiah, who I think is speaking next, might get into a little bit more. So really, that's kind of all I wanted to focus on, was the versatility that we found, and how many new and exciting things we're able to do with the LED dome that we couldn't do necessarily with our traditional projector planetarium.
That's awesome. Awesome. Just seeing that full list. Like, I know that we said about how versatile, but yeah, having that full list really goes to show you how much you can just potentially have new ideas and throw them up there. Nikki, that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. And that's, I mean, we've only been open for a year. And so those are just the things that we've done in the first year. And so we're constantly adding and learning, and it's a really cool thing to get to experience.
100%. I do want to shout out that yes, GSCA had their Dome Day at the Omni,
Yes.
and it was beautiful. You guys did a great job. Kudos to you overseeing the team. And actually, this is kind of a good time to bring Jeremiah on. Jeremiah is the operator. He's the theater director there with Museum of Science and History. And Jeremiah, you got told you were going to be in charge of this Omni LED system, but do I understand that you actually didn't come from like an existing projection? You were brand new. So share with us who you are, how you got into this, and just everything you've been doing.
Yeah, Ryan, that's right. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Let me pull up my screen quickly. Let's do, okay. Let's see if I can get share. Okay, are we seeing it? Are we seeing the presentation? Hopefully.
Looking good.
Okay, great. Perfect. Yes, so I'm the theater director with the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History, the Jane John Justin Foundation, Omni Theater, very long name. So my background, I come from more of a traditional film background. My bachelor's was in film production from Southeastern, focus on camera and lighting. I've been a video editor for many years. Came from a film and commercial freelance background, working on reality TV commercials, music videos, social media, live broadcasts, that type of thing. So pretty new to the planetarium dome world. So that's been a really, honestly, amazing opportunity to kind of learn this whole world and get connected with pioneers and people who have been in this space for quite a long time, and even just see the technology progressing in the time that I've been here. And it's made me really passionate about emerging LED technology and how that can be used in both filmmaking, like where I come from, and then all of the other creative applications. I've always been a fan of live music and other just live events and things like that. And so I've already seen how the technology can be used for all of that too, that kind of integration. We've already had some pretty great in-depth discussion on the specs of the actual technology, but I put together just a little bit here. So we are 23 and a half, I think a little bit over meter, full dome, 165 degree, tilted at 30 degrees. So theater, stadium style seating with that stage area at the front. And 8K resolution, very bright, very sharp. Native Rec 709, very high bit depth, pretty amazing, very amazing sound system, 32 speakers surround, capable of, Atmos 5.1, 7.1, IMAX sound. It's a pretty incredible space. I'm going to show a couple pictures from a couple of the movies that we have here, that we've been showing, documentaries that are IMAX documentaries that have been formatted to show on the dome. Again, pictures don't really do it justice necessarily, but you can really see the clarity and the sharpness that come through with this LED system. It makes for some pretty incredible viewing experiences. This is a picture from a Cosm venue we've seen if you've been on the, or at the Experience Center rather. If you've been on the Cosm site or or anything like that, you've probably seen these types of just amazing imagery that you can get even using Digistar. I started learning Digistar in Digistar 7, and so kind of got my start there, and then moved on to Digistar 2025 when that was released last year. And it's been a real pleasure working with the software and learning how to use the built-in space features, space navigation, things like that, and how to also use the software as a multimedia playback software and things like that. So there's a lot of potential, a lot of really interesting ways to use the software, which I've been coming to find out and continue to learn every day. So that's been pretty great. Nikki already talked a lot about all the different types of programming that we used, or that we have done rather, this past year. I just figured I'd throw up this image. This is from our Polar Express screening, which has been a huge hit with our community. Polar Express has been a theme, an event that we have done every year, and it came back with the LED. And what I want to highlight here is you can play the movie big, probably bigger than anyone else has ever seen it on this screen, but then also behind it you can make environments. So this is an environment that Cosm made all in Digistar, but you can also use Unreal Engine, Unity, I believe, and you can make live moving environments to put up behind any other piece of content. We could have like movie, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but we could have like a screen over here and a screen over here, and just so there's a lot of options and potential for making all sorts of other interesting content, whether like Hollywood films or stuff that you make on your own. And then something that we started doing last year, which we enjoyed doing quite a lot, was live music and live bands. So this stage area has been great for us down at the bottom of the dome. We've been able to set up acts, come in. We have a contract audio engineer that we bring in. We can, set up full bands. And so that's been awesome. And then we can, put all sorts of visuals up. This image here on the right was with a mermaid, like country pop artist, local artist. So she came in and did this kind of cool, like electronic EDM set. And we had these visuals that the creators of Resolution made for this event. And so it was kind of like cowboy, mermaid, cowgirl rather, mermaid underwater theme. It was very cool. And so yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that, and still continue doing live from the Omni events. We use space assets, we use stuff that is built in, Resolume or Nest Drop. I know Nikki mentioned that, and I wanted to speak a little bit on that. There's more and more software is coming out now that you can utilize on this LED dome to fill the space, give, if you're not using Unreal Engine, lots of other options that you can build assets and then put up there and use softwares like Resolume and Nest Drop, which is really cool to kind of add some spice. To the screen, you can overlay them and mix them and things like that. So that's been very cool to figure out as well. So that is the end of my presentation. Yeah, happy to answer any questions about what it's like to operate.
Awesome. Well, we do have some questions about the Hollywood content. We will get to that here momentarily, but very, very cool. The Polar Express stuff that you're doing. Yeah, brand new entire uses of the space, and continuing that awesome IMAX legacy. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. We'll come right back to you here shortly. And let's round out our panel, introduce our last panelist. It's the one, the only Martin Fuchs from out in Czechia. Point in time, he is joining us from the inside of a very comfortable sauna, and he's just having a very relaxing evening, I'm sure. But Martin has been running the Prague Observatorium since a teenager, so you have seen things from big giant projection systems to video projection systems and now to LED systems. Quite the history. So do us a favor, introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know you already, and then maybe share a little bit of that journey and what you learned.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from the mountain hut in Czech Mountains. I will bring up some pictures. So this is Prague, my home city. I was born a couple of decades ago. And as Ryan mentioned, I started my career as a volunteer at the Prague Observatory and Planetarium as a teenager in 1991. It was kind of temporary job, and it's still working. So I've been through real observation, astronomy, educational stuff, live shows, then constructing telescopes and so on, producing content for the education at the observatory. And on the way, I studied computer science, computer graphics, and also pedagogy and education. And then finally, I reached the Prague Planetarium about a decade ago. So this is Prague Planetarium. We have 2 other facilities, 2 observatories in the different places in Prague. So this is it, about 60 years old building. We get there, it was mostly dying, and in 2018, running very old SkyScan 8K projection system on the 60 years old surface from Carl Zeiss. And we realized, okay, we must do something to revive this beautiful venue, this beautiful theater. And around this time, we visited a factory in China with a demonstration of the LED dome built by Cosm, and we was just caught in the thing. We fell in love with LED, with the idea of LED planetarium, and we decided we'll do everything to bring it to Prague. So after a couple of years and a little bit of work, we opened the new LED dome in Prague last June. So it's manufactured by Cosm, so it's a CX system, and till now we are running just a wide variety of content. For sure, we are trying to stay to be planetarium, so we are in an education field. So most of our shows are related to astronomy and nature sciences. Our typical show has 2 parts. The first part is a live show, basically about what's happening on the sky today. The second part is the Fulldome film of choice of the program. But we are also deep into any live content like concerts, industry presentations, live theater. We have site-specific theaters coming to our dome to make a theater pieces. And yeah, we are running it almost 1 year. Here's some numbers: 22-meter LED dome, 8K in the auditorium with 280 seats. We have also at the entrance hall we have the LED wall with pretty nice resolution for our visitors to be prepared what they will see up there in a main hall in a LED planetarium. It cost us $12 million, and we didn't hesitate any penny spent for that. It's a price for the whole reconstruction of the building, including everything like technologies and stuff. And well, we hit 11,000 visitors on the opening weekend, 100,000 visitors in first 2 months of the operation, and the estimated first year attendance is 500,000. And till today, we have shown 1,500 shows, programs, sold out in a row and still counting. So from the opening day, we have every show sold out. So, well, the thing simply works. I think it's amazing, and you are all welcome to visit Prague to see us and feel it in person. So that's it. Thank you, and I'm looking forward for your questions.
Awesome. 1,500 shows sold out, 11,000 in the opening weekend. That is an impression. That is the community responding. That is cool.
Yes.
Let's go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring everyone on. We'll have all of our panelists turn their cameras on and join us. This is the time that we get into the forum. We've got some questions that will kick off the conversation around this, and then we've also got some questions in the Q&A. So this is a great time to remind everyone, if you've got something that you would love to ask, throw it in that Q&A. We can up and down vote it, or I don't know if you could, but we can upvote it. We can make sure that your questions get answered. Let's go ahead and kick things off with Benjamin, and then Kirk. There'll be kind of the same question coming to you right after. But Benjamin, when you are talking to a planetarium that is embarking on maybe a new capital campaign, and they're writing that initial RFP, and they're saying, "Hey, we're thinking LED." What is the first few things that you suggest they really take a look at and think about while they're preparing those documents?
What I can say is that every project is kind of a custom-made project. So every time we have many discussion with the customer, with the facility. The first question are about the resolution and about the shape that they want to give to the LED dome. Because the good thing with LED dome is that you can have a different shape that only a pure hemisphere. This is the case that Martin have. He have this extension in front, and I know Cosm also have their specific domes shapes. And then many of their customers also decided to go with this some front extension. So we always have that kind of discussion of what would be the dome shape and how extensive it would be. Should it be all around the dome or just a front extension? So those are the first steps. And then obviously the resolution, depending the diameter of the dome, there are some limitation because more pixels you want to have, more LED you want to have, less holes you have in the LED panels. And then you need to keep some holes for the acoustic transparency. So those are the first things that you qualify with the customer. It comes also with the price, obviously, because higher resolutions means higher price. And then there is one question about the color, but this is not really a question raised by customers. They are not now educated on that. But this is completely true that depending the range of the colors you want to have on the dome, it totally changes the cost. Because when we manufacture, we select the LED depending the color gamut range that we want to have. So obviously right now we are sticking in some 100% DCI-P3, but it can be extended to some Rec 2020, and depending the percentage you want to have on the Rec 2020, it can affect the pricing. Yeah, so those are the first specs. The luminosity, there is kind of I would say kind of a standard. Maybe Kirk will confirm about this, but with 300 to 500 nits, this is a range that is already very bright, and then remaining in that kind of brightness range is always completely fine. So yeah, those are the typical parameters. And then the bit depths, the viewing angles, the way the LED are controlled. We always try to push the latest technology because we want to give the best results possible. So the technology is evolving, and for each project we try to promote the latest, the latest electronics available at the time.
No, that's awesome. It's custom. It's always kind of a custom eventually, but it is nice to know that they can start like how big of a space do you have, and then what is the resolution? Like, do you want to have the ability for the pixels to disappear? Very, very interesting. Jumping over to you, Kirk. How would you recommend institutions should kind of think about ROI on these LED domes beyond just the initial cost. So lifespan, the ability to do like what Nikki was doing, like put just about any content on the dome. How would you recommend they approach ROI with these new LED systems?
Sure. Just to follow up real quick on the question to Benjamin, I think before I get into ROI, I think that it's important for our customers to understand what is the institution's vision for how they want to use the space. And I think that's critically important as we work with them to design the space and how they might want to use it. And then the other thing I would do before you write your RFQ and before you decide what you're going to buy, go out and see it. Go visit, come to Salt Lake City, come to Fort Worth, come to Prague, come to Arizona, see the system in operation. There's going to be some cheap knockoffs there and there's clearly performance differences between systems. And so be careful not to get fooled by cheap imitations and by people that say they can do it but haven't done it. And so I think that's important to do before you go out and buy something. I know the teams at Arizona, Prague, and Fort Worth all did their homework there. And so I would just encourage that as well. From an ROI perspective, look, I think there's no question, everybody knows, and Benjamin talked about this a little bit earlier, that LED domes are more expensive, probably 2.5, 3 times, depending on what projection system and what LED dome you want to do. They are more expensive, but as you look at that long-term investment over time, you're going to have to replace your projectors 2, 3, maybe 4 times during that 20, 25-year lifespan of LEDs. Those laser projectors drop, to 50% brightness over 20 to 25,000 hours typically. I think the other thing that's important to understand is the quality that you get with LED and with a CX system, you can't achieve with projectors, right? You just can't get there. And I think that's critically important because you can't wow the audience like you can with projection system of any kind, like you can with the brightness, the contrast, and the resolution and the experience of a CX LED system. And then I think the other thing we have to look at from an ROI standpoint is all the different use cases, that you can use with LED. Now, you can do the same sorts of stuff with projection, but honestly, in today's world, they don't have the same impact. Martin, I have a question for you. Do you think that if you would have installed an 8K, 4 to 5 foot Lambert projection system at the Prague Planetarium and reopened, that you would have had 11,000 people in the first weekend and 1,500 sellouts in a row?
Probably not, yeah, because you will not be the first in the world having laser projectors. That's it.
So I think that quality really gives people a reason. We got to give people a reason to get off their couches, get out of their houses. We're competing for audiences to come, their time and their money to come to our facilities, and we have to give them a quality product. And again, I think these new CX systems are such the quality that now with the right content, we're giving people reasons to come back, reasons to come. And I think that's really critical as you look at ROI. I can get corporations to come and rent out my facility for a corporate event. I have much more flexibility in the types of content I can show. And I'm not saying that we should get away from our foundations of science and education facilities and planetariums for those that are focused on astronomy. Look, we still want to do that. We want to do that better than we've ever done it before. But by bringing in some of these other audiences to maybe see a different type of show, then that makes them think, hey, now I want to go back and see that star show, or I want to go back and see that other educational content that they might be showing. And so I think giving them a reason for the quality to bring it in, take advantage of the other revenue capabilities, the additional people that are coming because of the quality that you have, I think all contributes to that return on investment question.
Super good points. Super good points. Having for so many years, the theaters would distinguish themselves with the Dolby ratings. And this is completely different because they're you'll hear the difference. This, you walk into the venues and it's just night and day how much brighter because you light coming right at you. Yes, that was a big discussion point. The GSCA team, especially realizing that CX system at Fort Worth is turned down. The brightness is not even up to maximum. Is that correct, Kirk?
They have that flexibility. They can run it anywhere from 1 foot Lambert to 150 foot Lamberts, or a few nits to 500 nits and higher. So So, I think they vary that depending on the content. That's the beauty of the system, is very quickly and easily with either a slider or a quick script. You can change the brightness based on what the content was produced for. Sometimes it's a challenge because some of the giant screen cinema films that we show were produced at maybe for 20-foot Lamberts of brightness, and we're showing them 150-foot Lamberts, and it shows a few of the shortcuts that maybe some of us take in our productions. And so you can turn that down if you want until we get that production quality up across the board to where we can really take advantage of the full brightness and capability of the system.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Nikki, let's talk about programming, putting together ideas. First off, can you share a little bit more about how you guys did that Taylor Swift event, but then also just talk about the really cool stuff that LED kind of like opens up as compared to your IMAX system, or what was the IMAX system before that? But
Sure. Well, okay. So to start with the Taylor Swift event, one, we have gone down lots of rabbit holes about licensing, of course. And so for the Taylor Swift event, again, that was kind of one of our first big events that we had. So that was the February after we opened, and it was, so we were able to use her music videos, and so we put together kind of a run of show with a certain number of music videos, and then Jeremiah was able to get in the system and kind of just tinker and play and experiment a little bit, and then so each individual music video had a specific and unique background environment template that went with it. And then we also have a lobby space, so we're able to pair activities and have community partners and all sorts of stuff out in our lobby space that is related to whatever content we're showing in the dome. So, but I mean, a lot of it has been we dream something up, and then sometimes we have to go to Cosm and be like, "Hey, we had this dream. Can you help us figure out how to make this dream happen?" And they do, So it's a lot of just kind of learning the system and getting in there and seeing how to make all those little dreams reality. But again, the system and the screen are so versatile that we're able to kind of be like, maybe can we do this, and then pretty much we're able to figure out how to do it. So it's been a cool experience.
Well, thank you, Jeremiah, for being able to say yes so easily. As an operator of these LED systems, there was a lot of work that planetarians had to do, making sure that the ears were aligned and that sound channels weren't dropping off. What is it like to maintain an LED system, or to do all the checks? Is it as simple as the future is, where it's just, are you running HAL? And it's yes, we're running. Like, what is it like?
Yeah. So I have not had to maintain a projector system, so I can speak really only to my experience with LED, which has been good. Largely, yeah, like I come in and I boot up the system, I run some test content, I make sure that, I step out into the theater, make sure that if any panels have any sort of connection issue from being off overnight, whatever. Cosm has really done a good job integrating the system, making it user-friendly with Digistar, as I'm sure probably a lot of people have experienced with Digistar, whether 7 or 25. And, I'm able to reset connections whenever that needs to happen, or, I've started learning all the individuals of the signal chain and how everything works together, from the send cards and the GPs and the display port cables and all that stuff. And so I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, I can walk out into the theater and usually address an issue where I'm like, okay, well, it's probably this, so let's reset this. And that's how that works. So it's been pretty good on that front. And yeah, I mean, on the tech side, like Nikki said, I mean, just kind of figuring out what works, how to put things together, dreaming up ideas, and then figuring it out, or hitting up Cosm has been really helpful for support. And, they're the professionals. So I tell them my vision and my dream, and, figure it out and go from there. So.
Awesome. Okay, so you got insight, and I want to point out this is Benji's question. How do you play Hollywood content on the Dome? Are there DCI compliance like hoops you have to jump through, or Nikki jump on
Yeah.
this as well?
Yeah. So I mean, we spent a lot of time figuring out the right path for us. We do have a Blu-ray player, so we're not able to integrate Hollywood films onto the system itself. But we do have a Blu-ray player that is connected into the larger ecosystem. And so then it's just a matter of, getting a Blu-ray, getting the licensing, of course, and figuring out what we want the background environment to be. So it took us a little bit of just like, oh, is this right for us? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? But but now we're able to play Hollywood films.
Wow. So yeah. In this case, there isn't a major technical like security issue you have to jump over. You just got to be able to play a Blu-ray DVD or a Blu-ray disc, and actually can legally. Do you want to drop your email in the chat? Anyone that has questions about this on how they can legally do this, because this is
Well, we go through a third party licensing. We make sure we have the licensing. So that's very important.
Very important. Yeah. But it's just like another.
Somebody just said swank.
Oh,
So
Alec.
yes, we
Yeah,
use,
Alec. Thank you.
yeah, we use Swank or sometimes Criterion.
Wow. All right. So that, yeah. And then, you don't have to have a background. The backgrounds are fun. We've
You don't
seen what
have
little
to,
cinema
yeah.
can do with a movie, which is, you guys don't crank it up to quite that high of a standard, or Jeremiah, you having to.
Yeah, I mean, so you can put up a background. I mean, the amazing thing with the versatility of this screen is that, like I talked about, you can use Unreal Engine if you have somebody, creative on the team who knows those 4D softwares and design. Like you can have environments created, which is what you see them doing at Cosm venues. Also, like when they're playing the movies, they have the movie in the 16:9 or standard aspect ratio, and then you have all this amazing stuff going on behind it. So you can create Unreal environments. You can throw the movie up against space background, because obviously Digistar visualization is already incredible. So, say you're watching like Interstellar or something, and you put that up, and then you have space going on behind. I mean, the options are endless. So.
Yeah, you kind of have to bring some ideas to the table, because you could probably do it, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, so Martin, you are your title is creative director, yeah? That's your official title? Okay.
Yes, it could be. It's a complicated thing. I have been through almost any kind of job in a company, including welding and plumbing and so on. So, well, the title is kind of shortage.
All right. Well, perfect. In your experience, what does 12K resolution on an LED dome, what does that give to a creative team?
Well, lots of trouble, because it's not only about the resolution, but the complete workflow for production of the content being ready for the LED is different, and it's definitely more demanding. So starting with renders, I think what most of the creators do not expect, then that you are shifting from the 30 FPS frame rate to 60 and higher. So it's basically twice more rendering, and this is, I think, the key point, that on a LED 30 FPS is definitely not enough. You can find kind of content which is just okay, but 60 FPS is a new future for the content in an LED dome, and the market is totally unready for that.
Mm-hmm.
We are using some kind of AI upframing things, doing magic. But yeah, it's a temporary thing, and this could be done properly to use the full power of the LED screen. So, and well, you can end up with the Robin Sip is doing with his cameras. Okay, I'll be absolutely happy to do it myself. But yeah, it's another university to study. Yeah, so yeah, it's all the content is just twice or 10 times more demanding for production, and also the handling. Yeah, if you we want to screen a new film, and well, the master has 20 terabytes for the full resolution. So our library of discs is just growing, and it will be a huge room just full of drives of content. So also yeah, the volume of data you are just handling right and left and to the system and out of the system is insane.
There's challenges. It sounds like there are challenges, but can you go into maybe what some of the benefits, some of the payoffs when you have that high resolution content? You as an operator and as a creator seen a difference between people's reactions from when you had the Zeiss compared to now? Are they just so much more blown away with what you're able to create?
I don't know what it means be so much blown away. They are just blown away. I think it's enough. and
Fair.
It's completely different experience. And well, not comparing our old system with the CX display, but comparing any projection planetarium with the LED is okay. So the black is full black. So basically, you have something, if you are, well, visualization of astronomy, planets, for instance, the planet, if it's in front of you, it's on a black sky, and you are simply forgetting you are in a room. You feel the space because, well, there is nothing there. You can also change the space. Yeah, we have the famous snapshot of the cathedral in Roma, and well, you are for a moment in a dome, but now you are in a square, and your senses are totally tricked that you are in a completely different environment. And well, this is, for me, this is the reason to have the planetarium and immersive projection, just to take people to the spaces you can never go for any reason in your life. So you are really into. So the immersion here really works. And well, the last thing, the biggest difference for me from the production point of view is that first time in a planetarium history, you can shoot, because well, I'm mainly working with cameras, you can shoot in the daylight, the day scenes, and they are awesome. They work. In the previous years and decades, as a producer, you are basically trying to stay low in the light as much as possible. You are filming in the nights and so on to handle the cross light somehow for staying in such a quality of picture. Now you can bring your camera under the blue sky with the sun on, and it looks perfect. So that's also for me a big difference. And yeah, we are starting productions just about nature, geography, etc. Because well, it simply brings you to the place.
There is a really cool transportative type given, and lots of credit to Robin Sip on taking us to a bunch of around the world. Robin, looking forward to much more in the future. Okay, so let's jump to some of the Q&A. We've of these answered, but I want to go ahead and give the whole group a chance to respond as well. So this will be Benjamin for you and Kirk. Benjamin, you kind of already wrote in on this and you did a great job. But let's kind of really quickly talk about LED and technology advancing. Realistically, how many years do you think these LED screens technology will stay somewhat current? Or is there suddenly going to be in 10 years a new LED, micro LED, or something along those lines? Like, Benjamin, go ahead and share your answer, and then Kirk, same question to you. Just how long can they actually expect these to be running? Understandings of the technology. Benjamin, go ahead.
But I can say that we are trying to see what will happen in the future, and then I don't have any crystal ball, so I cannot tell that there will no a big game changer at some point. It's impossible to say. But what we can feel is that the image quality, as Martin mentioned, the brightness, the contrast, has reached a level that this is what we need. We don't need something more. We are fine with that. The resolution, as Martin mentioned already, we can go to 10K, 12K. And the big problem is more about the content creation than the display by itself. Because for a 20 meter, we could have gone for 14K or even maybe 15K. So there is not yet a limit in terms of resolution of what we can bring. But actually, there is a limit for the content. So I feel that maybe the resolution will evolve. But right now, the quality you have is good enough, and I think it will remain good enough for the next 20, 30 years. I really feel that. I'm sure there will be some improvement elsewhere than purely on this kind of quality. There is still some improvement to do about the precision of how we drive the LEDs. And then, yeah, there will be some improvement here, I'm sure. It's already improved since the past years. And there might be also some improvement about electric consumption, heat dissipation, and maybe weight also of because right now we are using some PCB, and there might be some new technology, new material that can be used to make the LED panel lighter. But I don't think it will be a big change in the image quality. This is my feeling, and then maybe Kirk can share his feeling about this, but this is my feeling.
Great points, especially about efficiency. The electricity usage will probably come down at some point. But Kirk, your thoughts on the same question?
Hang on, I'm checking my crystal ball over here. Benjamin, I didn't know you didn't have one, Benjamin. So yeah, I think that's the points are well made. I think we've achieved. I think we hosted the Giant Screen Cinema Association meeting here in Salt Lake. What was it, in 2022? I think. I know some of us got COVID after they left. So I think it was in 2022 timeframe. And, we had a lot of producers say, the projection system or the display system is no longer the limiting factor in our facilities. It's now the content production, and so now I think we're to the point where we can achieve whatever quality that our customers want to buy and to display. I think Benjamin is correct that you reach a certain point where you have diminishing returns. And I think 8K, 150 foot Lamberts, 100-to-1 system contrast ratio, those are points where, yes, we're going to get incrementally better in that performance, but is it worth the additional cost, additional production cost in order to do so? We're running 12K in our venues. But the question is, what is the market need in order to be satisfied? I believe that these will last for 20 years, and people will be very satisfied with that. It's now a matter of bringing up the content to match. Robin's been brought up. He's done some amazing work for us to do 16K for our domes, and those are being displayed in Fort Worth and Prague and Arizona and our Cosm venues. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. He's, I think, leading the industry and live capture of some of this beautiful scenery around the world. I mean, one of my favorite things I'll just share with you, one of my favorite things to just kind of touch on what you asked Martin a few minutes ago is we've had thousands of people through our experience center here in Salt Lake. The favorite thing I love to do is sit there and watch people's faces when we light up the dome for the first time, to see the smiles, the joy. Over at Martin's place, we were sitting there for the press conference. I was sitting in the front with Jacob and the team. There was 100+ press sitting in the audience, and we were looking at them. We gave them a brief demo, and then after we had asked for questions, and they were speechless. And one of the senior reporters in the audience said, "We don't know what to say. This is the first time I've ever seen this group of reporters be speechless." And so it is really fun to see people's faces as this lights up. I think it increases our ability to inspire. I think it allows us to transport people, create emotion in people like never before. I think the other thing that the quality of this display does is it gives us access to more types of content and IP. You know, we've experienced as we've gone out to the sporting leagues, for example, to show them this. If we'd have gone with a projection system, 4 or 5 foot Lamberts, 8K, I don't think we would have gotten the reaction that we could have and take their IP and put it on the dome. The same with Cirque du Soleil, the same with some of the Hollywood films that we're producing. If we didn't have this quality, I don't think we would have access to that IP. And so while we've done that initially for our venues, we're also working to make that available in our premium media program to our CX system customers. And so you'll see some announcements in the coming weeks and months about making some of that higher end IP available. And I think we need that quality in order to get those people to agree to let us use their IP in these facilities.
Great point. Great point, especially as more of these media companies become essentially owned by tech companies, whether it's Amazon or Apple or Paramount, that's by the Ellisons. We are going to continue to see more opportunities for higher resolution ways of rewatching new content. You guys are doing it already really well with the Matrix, and then Jeremiah, Nikki, you're already sharing that you guys did it with the Christmas movie. I'm going to be hung for getting the title, and I apologize, everyone. A quick comment. Mike Murray actually shared in the comment section that in their public surveys, they found that there was a huge wow factor upgrading between 4K, but then not so much between 4 and 8K. So he was also sharing, and this essentially hits your point, Kirk, that there is diminishing returns after 8K. And so if we could just get up to 8K, that sounds awesome. All right.
We can all get in that scientific discussion about where eye limited resolution is, right? And that really depends on not only the resolution, but the location where you're sitting in the theater. And so a lot of discussions there, but I do agree once you get to 8K, you need to really sit back and think about, really, do you need higher?
Yes. No. We look forward to Meta finding out exactly what the science is on that. But it's really, really impressive when you have that detail and suddenly it stops becoming something you're seeing and the screen just disappears. You're
That's
in
right.
the environment.
And again, that's really because of the dark state, right? And the black levels that you can achieve, in my opinion. That's the brightness attributes to that. But I think I'd love to talk for a few minutes about contrast, because what really makes LEDs magical in domes is the contrast. You can achieve resolution with projection. You can, gang up a bunch of projectors and come close to brightness. You can't get there either. But brightness without the contrast doesn't really buy anything because of the cross bounce. And so, one of the things that we like to talk about from an LED dome standpoint is system contrast ratio as opposed to projector contrast ratio. There's some amazing projectors out there, and I applaud the vendors and the companies that have made these 2 million and 20 million to 1 contrast projectors. And those are great when you're displaying a star field only. But as we've talked, as soon as you put up the Earth or the moon or a full dome image, you start fighting this cross bounce that all of us have been fighting in domes for our entire careers. And how do you get rid of that? It's because of system contrast ratio. And how we measure system contrast ratio is different than sequential, in that we put up a black and white checkerboard and you measure the black and you measure versus the white. And about the best you can typically achieve with projection is 10, maybe 12 to 1. If you did very, very well, you might get 14 to 1. But in these LED domes, the CX system done right, you can get over 100 to 1. So it's 10 times. And now you can take advantage of that 150 foot Lamberts. That's 30 or 40 times brighter than the best digital projection systems in the world. So that's really what makes these magical, is that contrast ratio and managing that. And that's something that we've spent a lot of time to try and optimize. And I think that's what makes that screen disappear. And now it feels like you're there, and it's transportive in nature and emotional nature. And that's what I think really makes this different.
Completely agree. Anyone else thoughts on just the contrast, the depth of the blacks? Martin.
You know, just a little comment to this resolution thing. There is also a kind of considering what's the resolution of your eye, and if it does matter to go 16K, 30K, or whatever, if your eyes are completely unable to reach that level. That's the one thing, and the other thing with today's level of image processing knowledge and algorithms, including AI, you have plenty of options how to improve the image. Unless you are rebuilding the screen for $10 million, you can achieve much more just by processing. Just tricking your eyes, they are seeing something which is not physically there, but well, who asks? So this is my point.
Thank
Maybe
you.
I just want to point here something about the resolution, because somehow I'm not fully agreeing that, because in a planetarium, in a dome, and then even more in an LED dome, because the display is going sometimes close to the ground, you can have the audience that is getting very close to the screen. So it's true that if you remain at the 3 meters of the screen, 4 meters of the screen, it looks perfect. But you will have some people that will be closer to the screen. And then we can expect, yes, to have seats or people walking around and wanting to go very close to the screen. So in that case, in that specific case, we would like to have a better resolution.
I absolutely agree. These are just constraints you have. Yeah, the same thing is that, well, the LED is not for every size of the venue. I cannot imagine there will be mobile planetariums with LED because, well, it doesn't make any sense. They are very small, etc. So yeah, definitely there is some starting point of let's say guaranteed quality for every seat in an auditorium, and you got to design the venue for inside these limits. I absolutely agree.
Super good insight. We've got a question from Lena Chow. Question is for Nikki. How has the to LED technology changed your criteria for choosing content? Now I know that you came and joined Fort Worth when it was in transition. So maybe share criteria is for what goes onto that beautiful screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what we choose, I guess. So when we first opened, historically, we've always shown educational documentaries. That's what the theater was always used for. And so when we first opened, we stuck with what we knew, and we were choosing educational documentaries to put up on the screen for our field trips as well as for public shows. And I think that there was some learning process in there about, which studios' films worked best with our screen and the formatting that Cosm would have to do for it. So there was a lot of learning that happened there. I think that as we've, gotten 6 months in, a year in now, that we're constantly evolving what the content is that we're choosing and how we're choosing to do things. So I would say that it's not a change so much from the way it was, but it's an ever-changing sort of moving target of what does our audience respond to. We were closed for 4 years, and a lot of things changed in those 4 years. People, like Kirk mentioned earlier, we have to get them out of their houses, away from their own big TVs and big screens, and where they can sit in their pajamas and have their own snacks. And so it's a constant learning process of what is our audience going to respond to. And then also just for us, figuring out how many films we need to have at any given time. And are we carrying too many? Do we need to add some more? So it's, again, it's just an evolution.
Have you found yourself knowing the impression that screen can give? Have you found yourself ever wondering if a piece of content is worthy of the LED screen or anything along those lines?
Well, we do try to pick films that are, kind of the newest that are coming out, because there'll be a higher resolution, just the original asset. So I know that historically there were films that were big favorites, and people just even from a nostalgia point of view would love for us to bring back, but they they just aren't going to look good on that new screen, you know?
Good point. No, really, really good. Jeremiah, quick question. How much do you have like backup panels? And if this goes into CX systems, like proprietary information, don't share. But like, do you just have like a backup panel? You just go like, if you ever have an issue, like, are they quick and easy to fix?
Yeah, no, I think I should be okay to talk on this, but yeah, we have backup stock. We have lots of backup panels. They're all very well labeled, and they come in boxes with foam dividers and things like that, so they're all very safe. But yeah, I mean, I have a harness and a little carry case that I take up there, and I go up with zip ties and a little clipper, and I go up there and pop out the panel and take the cables off, put the cables on the new panel. There's 2 connecting points on each panel, which is pretty amazing and pretty easy, frankly. I mean, it depends on where you're standing in the dome and how high you have to get up and the angle you're at and all that stuff, but from climbing on the outside. But yeah, you go up and take out the power and the data cable, plug in the new one. You'll start getting picture right away, even while you're holding it. So you look at the panel and plug it back in. It magnetizes to the dome. The structure is magnetized, and there's magnets on the panel, and
that's awesome.
It's great. It took a little while to get over. I wouldn't consider myself afraid of heights, but when you're up there on the back of the dome strapped in with 2 little harnesses, it's a little scary, but it's good.
Just a quick follow-up there, Martin and Jeremiah, maybe you can confirm, but I don't think you've had to replace many panels. I think the majority of the panels that were replaced was due to a leak in the dome more so than failures. Is that correct? It's actually, I've been surprised, I guess, and impressed with the reliability of the LED technology, and I think it's performed very well.
Yeah, you're right that reliability of the panels is great. So I think in the 1 year nearly 1 year we are operating the dome, it was up to 10, I guess, panels which are failed from 1100, but we are replacing a kind of panel almost every week, and it's because of the front extension. People can access it, touch it, scratch it. So this is our 90% of panel exchange is because one single LED is physically scratched out of the surface, and if it's not there, it cannot shine, and you have a problem. So the most of our replacements are because let's say human interaction between the technology and visitors.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider that we have, I think, over 12,000 panels on our dome, it's and probably the lifespan of the over a year, I've probably had to replace no more than 15. So it's it's a pretty good ratio, I'd say. And when I do need to replace it, it's not hard. Getting there is the hardest part. So.
Well, yeah, the actual structure. Am I correct in understanding that you don't really have the nano-seam panels anymore? You're just looking at the LED panels, correct? Like you don't have to worry about seams. I mean, you still have to worry about seams.
We install the LED modules to a tolerance physically, and then we have a calibration process that removes those seams fundamentally. And so we do that in electronics and in software, and that's really the magic of what we do. We do a lot of pixel processing to get the grayscales that we need for some of the nebula and the Milky Way and the planetarium field. There's a lot of processing we do within the CX system, and similar with the calibration. And so, the seaming is much different. And then from an access standpoint, just at least I can speak up for the CX system, we have a ladder system that's built into the frame. And so we provide that with the system. And as Jeremiah mentioned, a climbing harness where you can climb on the dome and basically use the dome frame as a catwalk and access all of the panels within the system, so that if a panel were to fail, that you can go up and replace that quickly and fairly easily, as long as you're not afraid to climb on a little bit of height on the dome. But
Yeah, Ben, I'm guessing it's a little bit same with the RSA
Yes,
system.
this is exactly what I tried to mention in my presentation, is that I'm sure that TNS and RSA, we really focus on the quality. So we take care of all that kind of aspect, the calibration of the panels, the management of the black level for the astronomical objects. And this is really where there is a huge difference in terms of quality between what we deliver and what because we know that sometimes some customer, they are approached by some LED companies. They claim, oh yes, we can make your LED dome, we know how to do, and they can show some samples. But actually, every time they do something, the quality is not at all where we are now with the real constraint that we have in planetariums. Because in planetariums, we really care of the quality, and they are really far away, at least as of now.
Well, this has been incredible. Just everyone, thank you so much for the time here. I've got one last question, and then we'll go ahead and jump into, we'll end the webinar and jump into the open floor lounge. But Martin, this is for you. What have you discovered about the best frame rates for making content? Do you guys have a favorite frame rate for the new LED systems, or?
Yeah. Just a little comment following the discussion about climbing the dome. We have a little fun fact that we fit the dome into the existing building, and it's protected by law, so we cannot touch the building itself for a little. So our dome has no catwalks because there's no space for them, and we must sacrifice 2 meters of the diameter of the dome to have them there. So we said, no way, we will make it somehow. So there are only ladders, and we are just climbing the construction without any fear. So yeah, our employees surfacing the dome must be brave enough to do that. So that's a little comment. And yeah, the frame rate, okay, I think 60 is fine. I think it's a new standard. 30 is too low. Going higher can make a sense for the 3D. So yeah, another thing. I am personally not a big fan of 3D in the planetarium because I think for me it's contradiction to immersivity. Yeah, if you have 3D, you have directional picture. It's hard to look around and yeah, get oriented. But okay, the LED for me it's the first format when 3D works. So because it's super bright and it's really amazing. It's really amazing. So yeah, for the 3D, you definitely need 120, 60 for both eyes. But yeah, I think 60 is good unless you are doing very fast movements or changes in a picture. But yeah, operators of the LED domes know that if you make a really fast changing in a picture, people got sick and you don't want it. So yeah, we deployed our own signature air sickness bags just available at the entrance, but well, it's a bit joke, but yeah, I think for the reasonable speed in the dome, 60 is enough, but not lower.
Not lower. Well, awesome. We will eventually get into LED 3D, but not today. Today we've gotten in to talk about what it's like to have a system, to be able to choose when an LED system might be the exact right way to go. So any venue operators or planetarium managers that are interested in potentially upgrading, please screenshot all these names, look them up on LinkedIn. And then all of the panelists, if you don't mind putting your email one more time to the chat, we're going to go ahead and end this amazing webinar, this month's Fulldome Forum. But that does not mean the day is not over. For those who would like to join us afterward, we do have the open floor lounge about 60 seconds after this call ends. Can we just have everyone in the audience just find that little react button, send some love, some claps, some thumbs up for all of our panelists, a round of applause for all of our Look at all of that love, you guys. And yes, thank you so much for the time. We do have another amazing Fulldome Forum coming up next month, March. It's going to be Ed Lance hosting a conversation about sanctuary under the dome. And we know that Phoenix is doing stuff there. Jeremiah, Nikki, I know you guys are also moving into mindfulness in the dome. So really great, amazing conversations happening. That will be in a month's time. But for now, we wish everyone a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for spending time with us. And one more time for our amazing panel. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.